So thank you very much for having me. The paper I'm presenting today, it's a joint paper with Euro Koskinen from the University of Calgary and Hao Liu from St. Mary's University. It's on stakeholder orientation, environmental performance, and the financial benefits. So the climate change and the other environmental concerns have been a large risk to the corporations. So they affect the company's physical risk, regulatory risk, and also the relationship with the investors and the customers. However, the evidence regarding the environment performance impact on the financial outcome has not been as abundant as for ESG. So it calls for more research on the impact of environment performance on the firm's outcome. So in this paper, we study the corporate environmental performance and its impact on financial performance of Canadian and US corporations. And US and Canada are a very interesting case to study in terms of comparison because these two countries are very close to each other and they share the same legal origin. However, they are pretty different in terms of historical and cultural background. So we are looking at the environmental score, which is the average of resource use, emissions, and innovation environmental evaluation scores, and we look at the impact on the financial performance in terms of profit, valuation, and the risk of the firms. So the first result that we find, which might be not as surprising, is that Canadian firms have better environmental performance than the US firms, and this is the results hold also when we control for the differences in the firms' distribution and the industry composition in the two countries. We find that on average, the environmental score of Canadian firms is 17% higher than those of their US counterparts. The second finding is that Canadian firms in general do not benefit financially from their good environmental performance, which is already reported in some previous literature. And US firms do see financial benefit from good environmental performance. And we find higher profits and stronger valuation. So one standard deviation increase in environmental score of US firms leads to an increase of 18% in ROA and around 3% in Tobin skew of US firms. So the question is why we see these divergent results between US and Canada. We know that the two countries share the same legal origin, but with what we wanted to argue is the institutional factor, and in particular the corporate governance regime, that is an important factor that one of the drivers of the differences between the two countries. So in the US, which is more shareholder-oriented system, will be better for financial performance. And in Canada, we have a more stakeholder-oriented system, which will be better for the environment. So our conclusion here is that American firms have a very strong incentive to engage in improve their financial performance because it serves a purpose. It helps them increase their, improve their financial performance, whereas with the Canadian firms do not benefit financially from good environmental performance. And one of the reasons is it might be the case where the Canadian firms may be over-investing in environmental performance from the value maximizing perspective. So there might be a real trade-off between value maximization and environmental performance. And we do find that this can provide a pretty important implication for policies. We really care about environmental performance, then we probably could switch to stakeholder orientation regime, which would facilitate that. But an alternative way would be to create or change the laws and regulations in a way such that it would be in the best interest of firms or financial interest of firms to engage in better environmental performance. Thank you very much. So I am on time. Perfect.